Oh,
One,
good.
two,
I
three,
hear
1,
you.
2, 3. And
Am I
you're
looking at you or the camera?
you can look at me and the camera. I mean, if you need to say something out to the fourth wall, go ahead. Break it, man.
Break
that fourth wall.
I've been trying to break the fourth wall since my first theater class. I am breaking the fourth wall. That's it.
Okay. All right. And never point a gun at the audience, unless, of course, they're leaving.
That sounds like something Marinetti would do.
That's okay. I'm using Marinetti's defense in this program.
President Roosevelt is the
All right, welcome to the show. This is Stories from the Attic. I'm Greg Van Antwerp, your host, and my co-host is
Martin Blanco.
Martin, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Greg.
I'm going to make sure that your audio is perfect. And
Perfection.
We're in the perfect situation
I think
because
so.
The last show we did, we were out on a nice fall day.
Yes.
And it was beautiful, and I don't want to talk about New England weather because it could change, and it could change. But now we're
And it does.
and just so people know, we're not in the same location that we were in the last show. We're in a brand new place.
Yes.
We were back in Newtown, Connecticut. Now we're in New Milford, Connecticut, and we've been given permission by Kretchko Estate Sales Service to actually record before the estate sale starts. Once
Great.
again, we're holding up
We're holding up commerce.
the means of the economy.
You know,
of
there
production.
were 24 people outside ready to stampede in here or something. It's unbelievable.
That's my secret trick, Martin, to getting in at estate sales is actually pretend I'm actually doing a podcast, come in with all this gear, and then say, since I'm here.
Right, you might as well.
They haven't seen through it yet.
It's a clever ruse, yes.
Since nobody's watching these podcasts or listening to them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube, no one's ever going to know, right? So, but if you want to know more secrets, that's kind of why I do this program. But that is, I'm interested in teaching people about preservation. We're in the midst of, the detritus of society, things that people don't want anymore. And estate sale services need to come in and clear the stuff out so the next owners can have a nice clean slate to work with. So that's why we're here today. We're here today to kind of usher in another bunch of people to go through this stuff, find out what they feel is valuable, and then take it, price it, get out. And the house then gets lighter and lighter, and truthfully, the house I was in yesterday had so much metal in it that when I left with a pile of metal, the house went up an inch. It did. It was like that's the weight of the past holding these houses down. We
must liberate them.
We must liberate. That's right.
We're like exorcists.
Send them aloft. The really cool thing about this house is that it was basically it's on a street in New Milford where a lot of similar houses were. This is like the perfect street where people who owned shops, people who worked in town. You could go up this hill and you could see how the beautiful houses, and they've all been kept up very nicely, all look very similar. It's a bucolic kind of sense of small town New England, and so every time I look at one of these houses and I see this third floor window, I know it's an attic, and I know I have to go there. But I also know that that's breaking and entering, so I have to. I must wait.
Under certain conditions.
I must wait for an estate sale.
Understood.
So in this case,
sorry.
it's all right. It's a breakaway table when we do our fight scene later. It's going to be good.
But I might say your restraint is admirable. That's
it's
for the estate sales.
Well, it's also prosecutable.
That's true.
So I have to be,
Well, this is an interesting house. Tell me just a little bit about this house of the sale. I know there's some interesting things in it.
It was in the family for I want to say over 60 years, possibly 80. And the persons who we're kind of focusing on today was here about the time that they were probably born in the 20s, maybe a little bit earlier. And then by the time they're in high school, unfortunately, we're in a world war. We're on the steps of a world war, and in their early, I just killed my microphone. We're on the steps of the World War II. So they kind of live their lives. They're going to school. They're having they might have an after school job. The owners of this house had owned a candy store, I think, through two generations. I think that then there was like hardware or auto parts. So what I did find when I was helping to set up this sale was actually some really great military history, and it's not so much military as in action, but the kind of more like New England homey kind of history where we learn about how soldiers communicated with each other and communicated with their families back home. It's a again, World War, something of a scope we never want to imagine again, but we can imagine like what people were thinking and feeling. Sure. And the only way we can figure that out is through their letters and through their communications.
Primary sources.
Primary sources.
Nothing better.
And that is right. That we say are thankful to people who who say, oh, I should throw this stuff away, or, oh, my parents are such hoarders, I got to throw it all away. I'm like, I always want to say to them, well, could you talk to me first? please talk to me first.
Okay. Right, let you decide what gets thrown away or whatever.
Let Greg decide. Because I know that there are bits and pieces in there that are just really, really amazing. And the first thing I want to kind of start with is this right here that I found. And this is always, for me, this is always gold. And and you can see that's Army stationery sheets and envelopes. So this is something you would buy for a soldier, or the soldier would be given, maybe by the Red Cross, so that they would be urged to communicate with their families. Again, contacts are really the main source of immediate communication at this time is telegrams. You could maybe phone, but to try and get an open line, while someone is anywhere near involved in their, even in country at a training base, is almost, it's not.
It's what we take it for granted. We walk around with the phone,
right.
And if you can't get through immediately, you get frustrated. But not all that long ago, there were a lot of steps, and you had to wait, and it was not a given that you're going to get access to the phone.
Exactly, right. So what we end up with is this great kind of selection of, and I'll just show you this one card. You can take a look at that. These are postcards that are handed to soldiers, again, encouraging them to write, and they might be little cartoons of, hey, it's all war and everything, but hey, here's a neat little cartoon.
It's funny, a bunch of GIs in a car on a bumpy road, and the comment is, he wants to ride in front. He's getting car sick in the back here. I think they're beyond the car sick, but this is a lovely postcard. And it's, oh my God, the letter's typed on the back of it.
Read the letter. Let's see what it is.
Hello, Art. Thought I'd drop a card till, and the postmark's blocking some of this, till, the new address, heard from all at Skokie, that's got to be Illinois, and Petrocelli at Camp Ellis today. The gang sure has split up. Things are well with me. Hope the same is true of you. Will wait till I hear from you before writing a letter. Best wishes to you and any of the gang with you. Snuffy Courier, Willimantic, Connecticut.
Wow,
that's neat.
Yeah. So again, there's that sort of association of the guys that you went to high school with are now have maybe some have moved on. They're likely in their, like I said, their 20s. They're at post high school, but they were still a gang. They were still hanging out. They were still very close. And now they're now separated by war.
This is February 16th, 1944.
And then I have this one here from also 1944, and just read a few lines from the back of that one. Let's see what that says.
Hi, Art. Okay, so they're writing to Art.
Yeah.
Hi, Art. I'm sorry I didn't have the chance to see you before I left. I lugged my barracks bags to the stable, to Sable, checked them, and then stayed at and the postmark's blocking this out, that night. Left Westfield this next afternoon, did not have to report here until 1st of February. My outfit is going to do replacement work like the 1672. We'll say so long for now. Please don't forget to write. Sincerely, Dan.
Wow.
Neat.
Neat, very neat.
I love these, and I love the artwork. I love the postmarks. I love the stamps even. It's just, everything has an aesthetic value.
And
to
speaking of artwork, I want you to take a look at these. I want to show these to the audience, and they'll be able to see them. Again, always recommending people go to the YouTube channel, as well as hang out on Spotify. But what we're looking at here, I found, are about six or seven lined paper drawings that someone did. It was likely a school buddy, and the artwork is incredible.
It's very impressive. This is just with the pencil, as you said, it's on lined paper.
Right.
And I'm loving this. And he's drawing these great cartoon characters that look like they're characters from the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, right. They're drawn after a style that this artist was making his own. And
Yes.
they're just really, they have a special kind of a folkiness to them.
Yes.
Cuteness. You know, this one here, which is Kansas City Kitty.
Yeah.
It's a young lady. It looks like Mae West almost.
A little bit. It also has the look of, there's this, because of the hat and the wig, there's this optical illusion where you look one way and it's a young woman and you look the other way. It's an older woman on a profile. This looks, I see no illusion here, but this is reminiscent of that sketch.
A very, very popular and very old optical illusion. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And the other one too, I have to say, there's the man being kicked out of a door.
But yeah,
and there's a lot of action. The kineticism that he captures here is really spectacular. But this woman's gorgeous stocking leg is suggesting that this woman's about 8 feet tall. But it's just
well,
marvelous.
if you're a guy getting kicked out of a house by a young lady, I bet that leg feels pretty damn.
It's a lovely
long.
Portrait.
Yeah, it looks like gotta be an actor. You know, it has to be an actor. I can't place him. If you're watching the YouTube channel and you're watching this video, see if you can guess who this is, because I could not. I tried to doing a lens search through Google and I could not. I'm like, it just looks very familiar. Again, I get a sense of actually a different movie. It could be. I don't think it's Adolf Manchu. It could be someone else. But these are great. I mean,
pencil. I mean, just depends. I'm always fascinated by this. Someone in some sort of burlesque show singing "Show Me the Way to Come Home" may or may not. No, it doesn't look like to be in blackface, but it's reminiscent of that kind of entertainment.
I'd say he's a little bit drunk. I'd say he's a little bit drunk. And this guy.
Here's a guy again. He looks like he's slipping. Yeah. He looks like the guy who got kicked out of the door by the one maybe a little older. But
I fall down and go boom.
Boom. Oh my goodness. I fall down. I've seen that. Maybe he was copying that, but
it's probably a Merry Melodies cartoon, or you know, I fall down.
It captures
boom.
So much action.
Yeah.
It's so kinetic. It's almost moving.
And what gems? I mean, again, these are from the 40s.
Yeah.
The 40s. You know, they're 75. You know, almost 80 years old. I mean, you know, it's incredible that we get to see this.
Yeah.
And my only failing is that I tried to search Fred Joseph Collins. He was probably, my guess is that he was a New Milford resident through his high school years. He probably got married in his 20s, and then the family moved off to another part of the country. And so we don't have like this continuing, you know, we have to search people in many different ways in order to find them. And speaking of search, Martin, this attic, which is just part of the house, then there are 3 floors to this house, and there was a basement also, and I can tell you, the basement is empty. I know, I was there. But the other rooms of the house have a lot of neat treasures to look through. And speaking of treasures, you know, I actually recorded myself because, you know, behind these great big trunks that are here and these wonderful games, which we can probably spend a few seconds talking about, maybe like 3 minutes. What we have is behind them is this cellulose insulation, which is okay to breathe, by the way.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought your mask.
Good.
But we should be
now. It's okay.
We should be okay for another 40 years, Martin.
Okay.
But after that, I think it will show up in our lung X-rays. But behind one of them, someone must have years ago tipped over a toy chest full of small toys, and as I looked through all the nooks and crannies of this attic. In the cellulose was buried all these little charms.
Oh, how interesting. Oh, my God.
And so I was like, well, that might be interesting. Let me just find one. And then I found another. And then I found like an Indian headdress. And I started to find dominoes and then pieces of games. And then I found actually...
dinosaur fossils?
No. Well, actually, there were politicians, yes, who'd put out like different kinds of tchotchkes to get people to vote for them.
Sure.
So you get a whole sense of interesting history, and that was really really a true urban archaeological dig.
No,
that-
oh yeah,
that I
literally,
enjoy.
no metaphor. Yeah.
We're kind of running out of time. The sale, people are going to start coming up. Some people have already started coming up. I don't want to hold up the sale. What I want to do is let's finish off with a letter, one more
Yeah.
letter that just sort of shows this really interesting connection that local people try to have with their with their men in service, and this is an interesting one. Go ahead.
Handwritten letter, but it's on stationery by the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company.
And what's the year?
The year 1943.
Wow.
So it goes
Mid-war.
Looks
right.
like, Feb 21, 1943. But I love the old stationery. I love the imprimatur. I love the nomenclature, the fine ink. This is really, it's its own treat. But okay, let's read this. Hi, Art. I am writing this letter for Pinky to thank you for the cards you sent him. He got quite a kick out of them. He is now, how is Army life and how are you doing? How are your dogs behaving? We have had a very cold weather year. Pal Hawk is in the Army now. Why don't you hurry up and get this war over so all the boys can come home again? Amen to that.
Now, this is interesting.
Yeah.
You're obviously reading a letter that's not written by a contemporary.
Right.
It sounds like, and I can tell by the although very good pencil.
Very good
Pencil student
script writing. Yeah.
Script writing, yes. That it's a cursive.
Cursive,
Cursive.
yep.
Someone has hit the gold star in the cursive. But keep reading. Let's see what.
Well, the next paragraph is a little revealing.
Really?
Okay, so here we go. Daddy is losing all his chums and is getting lonesome. He is having tough luck playing pinochle and wants you back to see if his luck will change. I am now 7 years old. 7 years old. And I am getting along fine in school.
Right.
Tommy isn't so brilliant, though. Sorry, Tommy. Mommy is going to send you a pile of Daddy's birthday cake. I'm sorry. Mommy's going to send you a piece of Daddy's birthday cake soon. I hope you will get home to see us soon. Who helped me to write this letter? Soon. Who helped me to write this letter? That is right, Daddy. Well, Art, this is the best a little 7-year-old girl can do. It's marvelous. So I will now say goodbye and God bless you. Love from us all with lots of X's, at least 10. Your pal, Peggy.
Wow,
What a
that's great.
treasure.
So and then the father kind of writes and says, "So what do you think of
little
a
footnote.
7-year-old writing you a letter?"
A little footnote.
You know what? Come on in. It's still starting. So we're just going to finish up our podcast here,
Okay.
and you're fine. You're fine.
So there we go.
So-
So here's the letter that Dad wrote.
Well,
as a
actually,
sort of
I don't
footnote.
think we have time for the letter.
No,
that Dad wrote, because
okay.
we have
How about I
we have
speed
folks
read
wanting
it?
to
How
shop
about I
behind
speed
us.
read it? I'll speed read it. How do you like Peggy's letter, Art? We're still going through the worst winter we've ever had. So he confirms
Right.
what Peggy said about the weather. You're lucky to be in the summer South. Yeah? Haven't heard from Hawk yet, although Tej had a card, and he is at Aberdeen, Maryland. Not much to tell you about the old town, as it is sweeter than ever. The club is a swell place, and the only place to go, although I've been away plenty. I'd have to pay plenty of dues. Okay.
So yeah,
okay.
so he's
This
back
is
from
just great.
war, and now he's trying to make it more familiar for someone out who's serving.
Yeah.
Wherever he's serving, could be again in country at a camp waiting to be deployed.
Yeah.
And it just is such a great opportunity to kind of capture this piece of
Sure,
history,
sure.
because this is the kind of things that they do sell at estate sales, but often gets thrown away by the family.
yeah.
And I think that's what makes it kind of so special and worth this episode of Stories in the Attic.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think we're going to wrap it up, Martin.
Let's wrap it up.
The sale's going on behind us. We don't want to stop the means of production, right?
Means of production is controlled by the workers.
I want to
What do
plug.
you wanna
I want to plug your podcast.
Sure.
Which is I Wish I Were a Prosciutto.
I wish I were a prosciutto.
Prosciutto.
And on we had an interview with Lydia Bastianich just a couple days ago. She's talking about her upcoming special on November 26th.
Wow.
Hope you listen to that.
Yeah.
So,
Right. All
okay.
right. Martin,
Thanks, Greg.
This was great. Thanks
So much fun. All right. Bye bye. I'm gonna go tax sale.
Awesome.
Sorry, it was a box of Beatles snack.
Beatles, what?
I thought I saw that downstairs.
President Roosevelt is the president. President